I should have known that something was different when it was time for me to go to elementary school and I wanted to actually carry a briefcase instead of a backpack. I should have known then that something was different. I should have known something was different when I decided that I would wake up at 5 o'clock every morning in high school and go to a school that was almost 35 miles away to learn business principles. I should have known something was different then. I should have known something was different when job after job, no job would work out for me. I should have known different. I should have calculated all of these things that were going on in the process of my journey. But it wasn't until I found myself in an uncomfortable situation, in that situation where I was getting tired of going to work day in and day out, not being appreciated and not being able to tap into my good work, my life's work, and not being able to live out my dream and vision, all while making somebody else's dream and vision flourish. Being a part of a system, being a part of a company, being a part of an organization that was moving forward at the expense of the people that were working as a part of the organization. We went home every day, 7, 8 o'clock at night, tired, debating whether or not we would do it all over again the next day. I should have known then. But it wasn't until I found myself in a very uncomfortable situation, standing in front of students, being able to deliver content, but not really being able to tap into who I was and what I wanted to be. I knew that the platform was so much larger than 24 students in a classroom. I knew that. But that path to getting there, it's been a journey that started, I thought it started recently, but that journey started, as some would say, back in the day, back in the late 80s, early 90s. That journey started then, but I couldn't articulate it. And so going from job to job, trying to figure out what to do with this position. Yes, it's a position. Yes, it's a title. Yes, it's a comfortable income, but I'm not happy. And I'm not doing work that benefits the masses as I know that I've been called to do. So that started what you have in front of you, which is called While You Were Out from Work. And it's not just a title that came to my head. It's actually what I lived for such a long period of time. You flip through the book and you see chapter after chapter, but what you're really walking through when you flip through these pages, you're walking through year after year, journey after journey, transition after transition, and you really get to see the transparency of me trying to figure this thing called life out. I was trying to figure it out. But as I was walking through the process of trying to figure things out, what I decided to do was journal. I decided to write down some notes. I decided to call in counselors, call in advisors, call in some of the closest friends and ask the question many times, am I crazy? What am I doing? I'm confused. I don't know which way to go. And I decided to write that down. Because I knew eventually this work, this journey, this life experience that I was going through, I knew that eventually it was going to be for somebody else. I knew that my experience, I knew that my life's journey, I knew that what I was facing, it wasn't about me. It was just happening to me so that I could pass it on to somebody else. So what you have in front of you is While You're Out from Work. It's not just about being unemployed, but it's about what do you do with that time after you leave your job. It's about what do you do with those lunch breaks and those vacations and those short-term and long-term disabilities. What do you do with that time? Especially when you find yourself in a situation you don't like, you find yourselves in positions that are not comfortable, and you find yourself pushing somebody else's vision along while yours is on the back burner. While you are out from work is you using whatever time you have. If it's a minute, you can use that minute to benefit your vision. If it's an hour, if it's a day, if it's a long period of time out, how are you going to use that time to move you from the place where you are to the place where you're trying to go? And how are you going to use that time to live out your life's purpose? In the book, what you see is it's a phrase that I use, and I call it your good work. And good work is defined as that work that only you can do that will benefit or leave an impact on the world. What is your good work? The reason why I was getting tired on a job is because I wasn't doing my good work. I was just going to work. There's a difference. There's a difference. Going to work, that's how you get your income. And you have to do that because I don't have $1 to give anybody. So you have to go to work. You have to make your income. But don't lose sight of who you are. When we align ourselves to company visions and organizations, don't forget your mission, your vision, your purpose. Because any day that we have breath in our body, that's another opportunity for you to live out your vision, your mission, your purpose that was uniquely given to you. When we're not living out our vision, mission, and purpose, think about the trends that never get to trend. Think about the businesses that don't get to open. Think about the lives that don't get to feel that impact that you can make on them because you're not living up to your life's purpose. What I had to do in the journey of writing this book is I had to step aside from everything. I had to step off of the scene for a while. I found myself in an uncomfortable position. And sometimes when you find yourselves in uncomfortable positions, it's because this is the way that you see how to move forward. This is the way. You can't go up higher if you've never been down low. So sometimes we find ourselves in positions that are uncomfortable and unpleasant and not where we want to be. But look for the opportunity in these positions. Look for the opportunity in your situation. And don't just look at the situation for yourself. Look at how this situation can benefit somebody else. We have work to do. And it's not just about the work that we do when we get to our jobs. We have our life's work. We have our good work that we have to do. That stuff that was inherently placed in you from divine places that are beyond our imagination. That stuff that's in you, what is that? Because I know that I'm not the only one that's been in a job that I didn't like. I know I'm not the only one that's had a supervisor that I didn't get along with. I know I'm not the only one that looked at my alarm clock and snoozed a few times when it was time to get up. And typically when you like what you do, typically when you love living out your dream, your purpose, you don't look at the alarm clock like it's troubling you. You jump up. You're excited. You're ready to fulfill your purpose. What is that? What is that gives you that feeling? What is that keeps you up at night, but makes you want to wake up the next morning to do it better than what you did before? What is that? What is that idea that you've put on the back burner for so long because you were everything for everybody else? What is that? What is that heart's desire that's been buried in your heart, but it's time for it to come out? What is that? We need to find that. Because I guarantee you, when we find that, we find more businesses, we find more ideas, we find cures to diseases that people haven't ever been able to find. We find so many solutions when we look deeper in our heart. It's not about statistics. It's not about research. Search your soul and find out what it is that you can be doing to benefit somebody else. And when you find out what that is, don't waste time, don't delay it, just do it. Nobody's going to tell you, and I'm going to be honest with you, nobody's going to tell you that it's going to be easy. Nobody's going to tell you that tears won't come. Nobody's going to tell you that heartaches and hardships won't come throughout the journey. And if they tell you that, they're lying to you. Don't believe it. But anything worth having is worth the sacrifice, it's worth the work, it's worth the commitment, and it's worth you staying true to it and seeing it through. So not only it can bless you, but it can bless somebody else. While you're out from work, you can use that time to figure out what the world is missing from each of you. That's what I had to do. It's been a hard journey, but when I look at every face in this room, the journey was worth it because I realized I didn't make it by myself, still have a long way to go, but my life's work is to be able to impart into the lives of others so that we can all move forward and celebrate each other's success. It's a beautiful thing when the people that are with you are able to move up to new levels and you're able to genuinely celebrate that. So what is your life's work? What is your mission? What is your vision? What is your purpose? And own your journey. Own it. It might be ugly, but own it because it's yours. And nobody's going to ever be able to take away your journey, your experience, and everything that is taken to get you to that next level. Success is not about just money. Success is when you're able to rest at night, rest knowing that the decisions that you made were good decisions, they made an impact, and that you're able to do it all over again. That's success. When you're able to rest in peace with the things that you've been able to do and accomplish over a time, and you can do it all over again. I wish that success to you. I wish that everyone in this room would tap into that life's purpose, live it out, support each other as we move to those new levels, because the only thing we can do is move up from here. We've been through too much. We've sacrificed too much. I'm looking in this room, I know we've worked too hard, and we have made others and organizations shine. I'm looking through this room. Y'all's jobs, y'all's careers, y'all's organizations are shining with your ideas, with your vision, with your talent. It's your time. It's our time to move forward and not turn back. So while you were out from work, that book, all it is a journey. And it's encouraging journeys. And it's encouraging continued success. And again, I didn't write that book by myself. I wrote it with each of you. So I thank you. At this time, I'm going to call Goylan Williams to the stage. He's going to help me. He's going to ask some questions, pick my brain just a little bit. And we're going to dialogue for about 10 minutes, and then we'll go and cut some cake because y'all know I love cake. We'll cut some cake, and I want to network and see each and every one of you, and then we'll be done with the day. But Goylan Williams, this is a bad brother. He and his editing firm actually worked on editing the book while you were out from work. They worked on editing page after page, line by line, to make sure that we were able to tell an excellent story, that we were able to convey the message that I wanted to convey. So recently in 2016, Goylan launched his writing firm called Writing Geniuses, Word Geniuses. Am I saying that right? Word Geniuses. And he's the chief editing director for his firm. And they actually go through the process of editing people's good work, books, dissertations, all that kind of stuff. So again, bad brother, double master degree. He's just a bad brother. So welcome to the stage, Goylan Williams.
Questions of my own about the book. Why this book now?
You know, I started the concept of this book, honestly, back in 2014. And the book, again, it was one of those things that sat on the back burner because I was at jobs. I worked multiple jobs during the time that I was writing this book. And it was actually, I thought I was done with it back in 2015, and then I put it on the shelf and I left it there for 2 years. I didn't sell not one copy. And then when I started going through some hardships at my last place of employment, I felt like I was not valued. I felt like my ideas were not valued. I felt like my contributions in the classroom, were not valued at the school that I was at. And so I went home and I was frustrated, and I looked at that book. I prayed and I asked, what is my next step? And that book was just sitting there plain and clear looking at me. And so what I did was I went through, I read it again, and I actually started living through those pages all over again. Those steps when I'm saying evaluate your current situation and debate whether or not it's your time to either do something different, do something new, those pages were real. So I took those pages back in November and December, and I thought that I was just going to quit my job with nowhere to go. And I prayed and I honestly asked, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do next? And that book kept on looking at me. So what I did was I saved a little money and I wrote letters. I started writing letters the week of Thanksgiving to different publishers. And not too many people know this, but I started writing letters to different publishers and different literary agents because I thought I was going to go the traditional publishing route. Write a book, send it off to the publishers. Somebody say they like it, then you get published. You think you're going to get a little check in the beginning because they're going to run your book, and then you wait for your book sales to go top, top sales in Amazon, top sales Barnes and Noble. You wait. That was the dream. Send the book on and be a best-selling author. Well, in November, when I wrote those letters to the publishers and the different companies, I received over probably 10 rejections. And I mean nasty rejections. And it wasn't like the long rejections. I wanted a long rejection letter. You to tell me why you're rejecting my work. These were like 4-word rejection letters. Thank you, not accepting this work at this time. Not even a full sentence. Thank you, best of luck to you. Thank you, we're not interested in your project. So after about the 10th rejection, I called and I actually did some research. I'm like, okay, so how can I become a publisher? How can I buy the rights to my title? How can I own this work so that if worst case scenario happens and I have to put it out myself and sell it out of a trunk, I can do that. So what I did was I honestly thought about those brothers that create those mixtapes, call them a demo, sell them out of their trunk and out of their car, and then 5 years later you have some of the biggest income yielding rappers and artists. I said, well, let me create my mixtape. And so what I did was I put that book together, chapter after chapter, so that's equivalent to track after track, chapter after chapter. And then when you get to the conclusion, that's the end of the tape, and send it to the printer, and here we are. So what we eliminated in that process, we eliminated somebody saying no again, and we eliminated the middleman. What we've increased at this time is the amount of work we have to do because you are everything. Publishing companies, they send you your event coordinators to plan your book sales and your release. They call Barnes and Noble. Listen, we put all the equipment in between 4 or 5 cars. We put all the books and everything that you see here. It was hands that are attached directly to me, that down to the labels on the water bottle, down to everything in here. It was the hands close to me. And when I think about it, it wasn't supposed to be a publishing company doing this, because publishing companies don't love you like your friends and your family do. And if we have to just put in just a little bit more work, I'm willing to do it, because anything worth having is worth working for. So I found myself in an uncomfortable position where I had no choice. I'm talking about bouncing from job to job because it wasn't working for me. So was I going to go to another job, or was I going to put the book out and give it a try? So this is trial and error. I'm trying this. I don't know what's going to happen after today. But why it had to happen now? Because honestly, I was in a position where I had no other choice. So sometimes timing will align towards where you have no choice, and it's like I have nothing else to do because nothing else was bringing that value that I was seeking. So honestly, when I say I didn't write this book by myself, and this book release is not just this is not just about me. This is about y'all, and all of you have played a part in that. So that's why it was now. That's why it was now.
Thank you for that comment.
I know it was lengthy.
Well, you talk a lot about sort of emotional honesty, intellectual honesty, like while you're making this sort of seemingly like rough transition between jobs, between careers, between a new platform. Can you speak a little bit to how that might inform or help someone else who's making these sort of difficult transitions that are not always as seamless as we like to imagine they are, right? We don't become famous overnight. So can you speak to the level of sort of emotional and physical labor that sort of requires, and what does that look like for other people who, so in the audience who may be experiencing similar things?
Sometimes it's ugly. And you have to, I fear the words overnight success. I fear that because anything overnight might not last all that long. And so I didn't want to be an overnight. I didn't want to do anything, get it quick and all that, because those types of businesses and those types of impacts, they really don't leave that lifelong effect. And so what you're seeing today is probably 16 years of work. And we just got to this point, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. But with that comes, so many different emotional challenges. Some of you have seen me at the high, and some of you have seen me at the lowest low. I'm looking through the audience and I see some of the people whose couches I slept on throughout the entrepreneurial journey. I see some people who made meals for me throughout the entrepreneurial journey. So it's not always the most beautiful thing, but the lifelong impacts, you can't take that away. So emotionally, yes, you're going to have those highs and you're going to have those lows, but you have to keep that vision in front of you, because that vision is going to be your driving force. And, everybody in here knows what I believe, and y'all know who I believe in. And all I'm going to tell you is find something to believe in higher than yourself. Because if you find something to believe in higher than yourself, you'll reach higher. You'll achieve higher goals and higher values. And so honestly, I couldn't do this thing without my faith, because my faith would not allow me to quit. And so the days that were ugly, I couldn't do nothing else but to rely on my faith and my spiritual foundation to take me to that next level, because there are many days where the towel was literally in the hand and I was getting ready to throw it in, and I've asked over and over, I'm like, God, okay, I'm gonna try this one more day. And something just always happens, and it's not magical, it's just spiritual. Something always happens where it's like, okay, I can do this one more day after this. So it hasn't always been easy, but the emotional balances, they come in when you surround yourselves. Listen, surround yourself with positive people and positive energy, because when your fuel is low, somebody in your corner has to be able to pick you up. And so I believe that I've been blessed to surround myself with so many people, because I'll be honest with you, even leading up to this weekend, I've called many of, my closest people saying, okay, am I crazy? Am I still going to do this? Even up to today. And one of the voices said, you're here now. So you have to do it. And so that's that emotional thing. Even up until the time coming out on the stage, the emotional balance, you're just all over the place. But think about your vision. Think about your purpose, and think about who you have the potential to impact, and that should just change all that emotional balance. That should bring a whole nother centerism to your life when you think about how big your purpose is, because again, when your purpose is bigger than you, it just makes everything else just seem a little bit easier.
Yeah, I want to pick on that a little bit, your purpose. Thinking about maybe like how we situate ourselves within organizations or within workplace cultures. How does that extend, or what does that look like maybe if you are starting your own journey, your entrepreneurial journey, or you're creating your own business or whatever have you? How does purpose help inform the decisions that people make who are thinking about this transition? Yeah, how does it help inform your journey, first of all, and then maybe speak to sort of larger question about how does it inform other people's journey?
It's cliche to say, if you don't believe in something, you'll fall for anything, but that's so true. But you need to just insert some vocabulary in there. If you believe in yourself, if you believe in your vision, if you believe in everything that you have going on and everything that's been promised to you, that will push you so much further. You know, you have to, like I said, believe in something higher than you, but also you have to believe in yourself, because there are many days when you're not going to hear somebody say, I believe in you, or I'm pushing you along. That doesn't come every day. You know, you have your family, you have your friends, you have your support system, but sometimes you find yourself in an uncomfortable situation by yourself. And so when you think about that your life's vision and your life's purpose, when you think about that, and again, you think about all the people that you can impact, you have to put that thing in motion. Like, you can no longer, because I know that in this room, there are people that have thought about things that are not on the internet yet, that are not, that's not trending yet. That's your trend, that's your idea, that's your business, it's your time. You know, so nobody can take those things away from you. So when you think about that, you think about your life's purpose, you think about your vision in your life, put that in the business plan. And then, you know, couple that with those technical ideas and couple that with the business ideas that you have, but always remember your mission and your vision. And that will push you, and stay true to it. That's the biggest thing, just stay true to it. Because if I would have told you in year one that I was going to give up, this is year 15. And still not at the place where I want to be. And just now, I wrote the plan for this particular book. I wrote the outline for this book back in 2013 when I quit the news station because I was tired of the mistreatment. That's where the while you were out from work came from, because on the Monday after the Friday that I left, I was out from work trying to figure out what am I going to do while I'm out from work. But again, that was back in 2013 when I wrote the first sketch outline for this book. It's 2017. And y'all are just getting copies. I quit my TV job in April 2013. It's 2017. But imagine if I let that just stay a Word document in my computer and not do anything with it. I would be not robbing myself. I'm robbing others from the inspiration and the information that they can be getting to move forward. So you just have to think about, am I robbing myself? Am I robbing the masses from this idea? And allow that purpose and that vision to drive you from there.
Good. I guess a few more questions, but this one that I'm thinking in particular of, I'm very big on thinking about definitive moments in careers, or definitive moments in my life as an educator. And there's a lot of educators, quite a few educators that are here as well. What was the definitive moment to when you started thinking about leaving the classroom, and was that a difficult decision? I think about myself, I guess, and others a lot who are happy, you know, productive in what they're doing, but they see something else. So if you can point to a sort of definitive moment, if there were, you know, I like those, but I also kind of reject those at the same time.
Yeah, you know it was a definitive moment. You know.
Talk about that.
Absolutely. So the definitive moment, honestly, being transparent, this is family in the room, this school year. I started off, I moved in, and I love being an educator because I said, you know, back in the day, you know, elementary years, I wanted to be a teacher, and I never said how long I wanted to be a teacher, but I knew I wanted to be one, just even if I just got a taste, and my mom said, you got your taste now, you move on. But I knew I always wanted to be a teacher, and so I tried. You know, I had a few days in the classroom years ago. I was actually in the classroom before I got recruited to go into news. I was teaching, and so I finished out that school year and I moved into the newsroom, and then after I left the newsroom, I did some other things before going back into the classroom. So last year, I had a remarkable school year, an award-winning school year. And so I said, okay, I'll try something different. You know, we see that the classroom is working, so let me try my hand at a higher position at another campus. And so a higher position came available for me to be a lead teacher a brother teaching English. I was like, yeah, let's do that thing. So we moved to a new school, and you can't always judge a book by the cover. This is a transparent moment. I was working